everybody. This is Randy Gatula from Sunny 101.3 Radio in Falls City. Just like to take this opportunity to congratulate my friend Eric Johnson on the 4th anniversary of his EMF radio network. Great job, young man.
Welcome to One-on-One, brought to you by Nebraska Equipment in Seward. Eric Johnson with you, and it's been a long while, a hot minute, no matter what it is, without Paul Sheffield here on the video screen. We're deprived all around, and so I'm gracious enough to have him join us here on One-on-One. Mr. Sheffield, welcome. How are you, my friend?
Living the dream, as always.
They haven't seen you in a while. The fans, they asked, they're like, we need Paul. Stop hanging away. Get him on the airwaves. And, you know.
Unfortunately, this is a face for radio.
It's the story of my life. But I can't do it on the airwaves much anymore since we're kind of quiet at this point.
Yep.
We're on the tail end of the year, but I haven't really got a chance to sit down and talk to you one-on-one. Kind of since the beginning of the year. So I know there's been some halftime interviews, but man, lots of things happen here since the start of the new year.
It's crazy how fast it's gone. It seems like the older I get, the faster it goes. And so, and I knew you would ask this, so I had to write it down. You know, we only got 20 days left of school, 10 days with the seniors. And, you know, I'm going to throw something back at you. That 10 days of seniors kind of hits you a little bit hard this year you have one finally graduating. So
it is. I've been kind of hard trying to grasp reality on that because of mine. And of course, me and you partnering up here.
Oh yeah.
You know, our time, obviously, but professionally here will come to an end, but,
yeah,
I'm still hoping for a color commentator here on the EMF network. I'm just saying, I got an extra mic.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
I'll pay you too.
Ooh, that's just an added bonus.
Yeah, no, it's weird to think about that. The seniors one last hoorah for EM. Have you got a chance to kind of sit down and catch your breath and go, oh crap, it's actually happening?
Yes and no. It's, we're staying busy. We got a lot of stuff going on. I'm actually teaching a couple classes this year, so that's kept me busy too. And that's probably good. That's kind of kept my mind off of, with EM consolidation with Friend and then my retirement. It's kind of helped keep me busy and not to think about what's coming up on the horizon. So it's been good. It's been fast but it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, everything kind of going about it. It's hard to have that fine line between, we always talk about the state of EM, but we got EMF things lingering on in the distance. Is there any updates you want to give the audience right now? What's happening? I know the meal plan got voted in.
Yep.
You want to kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, and you're aware of this being a board member also, so I had to put that plug in there. Is that what they were? He is? Yes, he is.
I am.
There's a sucker in every group, isn't there?
Right.
So back in 2016, the EM board decided to not participate in the federal lunch program. Just basically, the board had said at that time, just feed the kids. We don't care we care what it's going to cost, but we want them to have good, nutritious meals and be full. And so that's been the goal of the program. And so we wanted to maintain and continue that with EMF. And so it's been a long, drawn out process, but hopefully that's going to continue at least into next year. And so, I think there are more schools that would be willing to do that. The biggest thing is financially, can you afford to do that? We still have free and reduced lunch. It's just that we fund the cost in-house. We projected when we started this that basically a penny on the levy will go to help offset those costs that we do not get from the federal program. And now with all these Doge and federal cuts, there could be some more things coming down the line that with federal cuts. So it's going to be good. I know we did a trial program, and so our cook Lori rule, we are spoiled. I'll just say that. went over and assisted in Friend for about a week and a half. And you know, you don't know what you don't know. Our cooks are just used to cooking from scratch. That's how they do it. And when you're on the federal program, cooking from scratch is more difficult. It takes more time, takes some more work, and it is more difficult because you have to know the exact nutritional content of everything. So, um, looking forward to having that continue. And I know when talking with our kids, when we first started talking about consolidation, that was the only concern that was brought up from the EM students. Will lunches be the same? So hopefully that helps with that transition.
I was going to say that some good food indeed, and I know a lot of kids are very appreciative of the fight for that too. So
Yep.
yeah, but well, you know, with everything going on besides the food program as well, I'm assuming a lot of logistics taking place for the EMF kind of
Yeah.
transit.
You know, with having the elementary here in Exeter, so we'll have grades K through 5. So we'll actually have uh, a telltale sign of this is with having K through 5 in the building next year, we'll have more kids in the building with the elementary K5 than we do with the K12 right now. So we're going to have about 180 kids in the building. And right now, you know, our enrollment is about 138. So that'll be a nice little change, having a few more kids around, but also to in order to have the room and not use the old building, we're having to do a little remodeling. So even though we added on 10 years ago, you know, the fitness center, we moved that downtown for now. So that way the public and the kids would have a place to use. But the fitness center is going to be converted into 2 kindergarten classrooms. The music room will be converted into 2 second grade classrooms. And then the small gym is going to be converted into elementary library and a music room. Once all those get done, and the goal is to be done by August 1, and we all know how construction goes, but anyway,
Of course.
goal
Yeah.
is to be done by August 1.
Yeah.
Once that is all done, then we'll start remodeling the shop and the classroom out there. So then the fitness center would actually move into the shop, and the ag classroom out there will become the community classroom. So that'll still be available to the public. So excited about that. And actually, the fitness center will actually be a little bit bigger. So we're going to say it's a new and improved, bigger and better fitness center that's still going to be open to the public. So quite a few logistical things there dealing with that. And then the EMF. So each board has an area committee, and they've been meeting once a month just to streamline and work out some things dealing with policies, procedures, and those types of things. So that's in the works too. So it's going to be a busy time, but it'll be a exciting time.
That's great to hear. And of course, you know, a lot of it, you know, we've had a lot of activities that has given EMF a terrific spotlight in a short amount of time. Basketball, for example, that started us off at the beginning of the year. That was kudos to Coach Harp.
Yeah, and I mean, no, going back to even in the fall, you know, football had a great year. Girls golf had a great year. Softball, not bad. Um, Volleyball peaked at just the right time, and they had, you know, finished runner up. Boys basketball ended up making to the state. You know, the district final and the sub district final, that was probably the 2 best games that the kids had played all year, and they beat the eventual state champions in the sub district final. And so um, it was a great year to see the improvement as they went along. Girls basketball struggled a little bit, but that's okay. I mean, they'll be on the mend and be bigger and better next year. And now getting into the spring, you know, track has been having a great season. The boys golf is having a great season. Let's see, what else do we have? I think we got quiz bowls.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, they had.
Esports. The Mario Kart teams finished our state runner up.
Yeah, Fortnite too.
Fortnite, yeah. You would know a little bit more about that because I think you have one that plays on the Fortnite team.
Yeah, he was pretty adamant. Yeah, he was. I tell you what, and that's a weird thing too, because you know, and that true to your testament. You know, when you and Derek and everybody was talking about that too. my son isn't going to, go out for certain sports, and stuff like that. And rightfully so. That's fine. That's just not his forte. But as passionate as he was and competing at state a couple of different times, I mean, that you could tell, I mean, that regardless, you had that mindset like you were either playing football or basketball or whatnot. He was, so it really shows how committed those kids are too, no matter if it's whatever sport it is. So
well, and that was the reason we added the esports. And I don't know if you were at some of those board meetings where there were some discussions about, why do we need to add esports? For some kids, that's their niche.
Yeah.
That is their baby. That is their thing. Like for some, maybe it's music and the fine arts. For some, it's the sports, academics. For this one, for the esports, it was a little bit different this year. Last year when we did the esports, they had 3 seasons. This year, they only had the 2. I think that really helped streamline some things. It seemed a little crazier last year.
Yeah.
But, they had I should toss in, we had speech. And so speech, we had somebody qualify. Camila's qualified for for state. And then, all of the kids got to a few speech meets this year. It's just, no matter what, it's always great to see how they are at the beginning, how they've progressed through the season, and then how much they've improved. And so that's the biggest key. Yes, you're gauged on your success if you get a state medal, stuff like that. But if you have that growth over time as a coach, a recovering coach, sponsor, or whatever you want to call it, if you can see that growth over time, that's worth it right there.
Amen. And that's what the biggest thing is. All the activities, regardless, everybody has improved throughout the seasons. And I know, talking to Coach Pella, you brought that up too. It was like, there's going to be some solid growth next season on her squad, especially, but everyone else as well. So, but taking a look at all these activities and whatnot, and finishing things up here for the year, I mean, it's going to be kind of a different situation as we get from one era coming to an end and another one starting to begin. I mean, for the teachers' sake, they got some packing and stuff to do, and I put a disclaimer out. Anybody, kids, would like to earn a little extra PR with the teacher and whatnot, and help him or her pack, please contact Mr. Sheffield at your earliest convenience. So just throwing that out there right away.
I'm sure they'll get a little bit of that towards the last few days of school and wrapping things up. I mean, one of the things that we've talked about is graduation requirements. At a previous endeavor, we had a community service requirement, and Friend has had that. So you have to do the recommendation at least 5 hours per year. So 20 years. Sounds like you're doing time. 20 hours of community service, which I think is a great thing, to where, you're giving back to your community. And so sometimes you have to mandate it first, so that way it becomes an intrinsic value. And that's one thing so we've been telling kids, hey, if you want to get a jump start on some of your community service hours, so like the juniors going in would have to do 5 hours. Sophomores coming up would have to do 10 hours, so they could get some of those community service hours in when we have to move. So, the high school, like you said, the high school teachers will move over to Friend, and then the Friend elementary teachers will come over here, and also just movement within the building itself. Everybody on the elementary and high school, everybody gets to move. Nobody gets to stay put. Method to that madness. Because if you had one teacher not move, you say, wow, how come they don't get to move and I have to move? And say, okay, that's fine. Everybody sort through your stuff and figure out what you need, what you don't need, and go from there. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting transition this summer. One thing I can say is after June 30th, it's not my worry. I've been pulling that card already.
Smile on the face, ladies and gentlemen.
I say it's not my worry. It is my worry, because I want everything to go well. You've invested so much into building a. You invest in building a program.
Yeah.
And so you just want that transition to go well, but sometimes things are out of your control. And so come June 30th, Derek gets to make sure everything gets done. But it'll be okay. It'll be fine. I believe that's the mantra. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. And if
It'll be
not,
fine.
it'll be fine.
It'll be
So
fine.
the little time that you have with, getting everything done, what's top of your list that you need to get accomplished with Derek, I guess, or Mr. Anderson?
Probably just to keep him up to date on the remodel project, the remodeling. That's the biggest thing, and it's just making sure he's in the loop on all that. Been trying to do all that. Other than that, just kind of him just getting to know our people, and Laura, with Laura being the elementary principal, her getting to know the friend teachers coming over. We've had some people that have chosen to retire or move on, and so just filling those positions, and that's been the admin team of Derek, Laura, and Liz have been doing that, and so that's been a little bit of a hard transition for me. Also, at first when they started having admin meetings, I was like, "Oh, I wasn't invited," but then I had to say, "Yeah, you're not going to be invited because that's not."
It'll be
That's
okay.
not your role anymore. You're not going to be here next year. So those that are going to have that vested interest in it next year are going to have the skin in the game. They need to take care of that. So that's been a little bit harder. And that's why I'm kind of thankful. I've been teaching a geometry and algebra class. That's kept me a little bit busy. So yeah.
Understand. Talking here with Mr. Sheffield, 1-on-1, brought to you by Nebraska Equipment in Seward. And, I know you got to get going here pretty soon, so I appreciate the little time we got here. But, a couple of questions I know people have asked me. Maybe I'll just go ahead and ask you while we got it. I know didn't get to run this by you, but one of the questions was teammates mentoring. Is that going to be a thing next year?
Okay. Yeah, the goal, and we've talked about that. And so Derek is always once he was involved with it when he was principal in Fairbury, and they were talking about wanting to get it rolling in Fran. And we said, well, maybe that's one of those things once we get together EMF. So, Denise retired last year and Madeline has taken over. So she's been able to learn the ropes of what goes on behind the scenes with the teammates program. So that way, when we go together, she can help the transition. So they'll have, she'll be probably in charge of the teammates program here at the elementary. And then I don't know who will be in charge of the teammates in Friend, but yes, the goal is to continue that. It's a great thing.
Yes.
And so, all this data statistics show that mentoring does play an important part in the development of a kid. So yeah, goals to keep it going.
Awesome. Another thing too, I guess, activities coming up here that we need to be aware of leading up to graduation, I guess. What do we got to know?
Well, graduation's in what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Are you ready, Dad?
No. Not even close.
It's just crazy. So yesterday, even though it was nice and quiet here, so I got a lot done. Yeah. Just planning out when I'm going to have my kids in class and stuff like that. And as I look at my little sheet, it's going to be few and far between. I mean, we have district music coming up this week. And so we have quite a few involved in that. We have the FFA banquet on Friday. Looking the next week, we got track meets, we got golf meets. And if I'm looking at this next week, next Thursday is May 1st already.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
And so then we've got, because then, it's not a school sponsored event, but it's still an event that a lot of the kids are involved in. I think there's like 50 or 60 EMF kids, trap shooting. And so that's state trap shooters like May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Then we have EMF activities night on May 1st. A little bit different thing this year is they're doing junior high, and they'll do all those activities, presentations, and they'll take a short break, and then we'll do the high school. So that's a little bit different. And then EM has their honors night on Tuesday the 6th. Throw in a few more junior high track meets and high school track meets. Elementary fun day, seniors last day, and then come up to the big date of May 10th, graduation. Another thing that we're doing, and I'm just going to throw in a little plug, is we're trying to think, how can we celebrate EM? Just to celebrate the end of an era. And so we're calling it the last howl. So on Friday the 16th, we're doing some special things with kids, but then on that night from 5 to 7 in the city park here in Exeter, we're going to just do a gathering of people and just have do a grill out, and we're going to try to get that advertised a little bit better. That we just haven't gotten that done yet, but just for people to come reminisce about EM and how it's gone. I mean, it's what 25 years.
Yeah, was
20,
it
23 years. 02,
Yeah.
03 is when they consolidated, but they started doing stuff together in 2000, 2001.
Mhm.
And so it's been 25 years that the kids have been involved with everybody, but 23 years of the actual consolidation. So we're calling it the last howl, and just a little celebration. And then our last day is at Tuesday the 21st.
Wow.
So yeah, Tuesday the 20th. Then you got a district track meet in there, and you got some district golf and state golf track, and
Hopefully some state golf.
yeah,
Yeah.
crazy fast.
I know. Isn't that weird? You just look at it. I can tell you just kind of paused a little and like,
Yeah, I just like it's like it.
you know.
My big thing was when I looked at the calendar, I was like, oh, next week is May already. Crap.
Yeah. 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 It's kind of it hits the feels a little bit there, partner. But
Oh yeah.
but as academics and athletics showed and continue to show, I mean, just think of it, in the last couple of years, the platform for EM, now EMF has been in the spotlight consistently. I mean,
Yeah, and a good spotlight.
Yeah.
In a good spotlight, and we just try to provide opportunities for kids. That's what it's all about. It's not what's easiest for us as teachers or administrators. It's like, what's the opportunities that we can give our students to where they can not only grow athletically, they can grow academically, socially, emotionally, and just provide an opportunity for them to grow in an environment that is conducive to that. And that's what we've always strive to do, is create that environment that kids want to be here, that people want to be here. And you can attest to that with your own. It's not like they ever say, oh, I don't want to go to school today. Well, sometimes they say that, but
Yeah,
for the most part, they may complain a little bit about it, but we do have a good time here. And like I said, my 17th year here, 26th as administrator, and 27th as an administrator, and 33rd overall. There's never been a day where I've said, I need to go in. I have to go in today. Never had that. And so it's been good. Been a good ride.
And I think about it too, because I know how many countless times, you've always broke down the math, and I'm like, crap, we've known each other years. It's like, and you still talk to me, so I compliment that. But
I should have made you go up the scaffolding one more time during the football season.
I'm still waiting for that in the backstory. People will talk about it a later time, but I'm still waiting for that. Like one last hoorah. It's like,
I'm gonna have to dig through. I'm sure I have to have a picture of that somewhere. I mean, I do have a picture when we first built the new crow's nest of the old one compared to the new one, and it's like difference in night and day. But
yeah, oh yeah,
well, go up that scaffolding. Really?
Yeah.
I guess. Hey, I'm new here too.
Well, I've always appreciated you over the years, and especially as I got to evolve, traditionally, and I hope giving some light to it with the school's sake and the network, but just keeping that relationship going, and hopefully even beyond that. Like I said, I got 2 teachers that join me on the broadcast booth. I can have a third one. It's like,
oh no, not a problem. And that's the one thing I should give a shout out to you too, and kudos for the EM and then the EMF network. That was a great way to share our story, and we've been able to share our story around the world. We've had foreign exchange students and they've listened in. When my in-laws were alive, they listened in down in Phoenix, and that's been a great opportunity for people to, heck, there's times we've listened in and because we've been traveling, and so, or maybe I didn't go that night and somebody else did, so I listened online. It's been a great way to share our story with others and to provide an opportunity for fans everywhere to enjoy what EM and EMF have to offer. Thank you for that.
No, thank you. Because, like I said, and everybody knew me back in the day. I originally wanted to go into teaching. And so I kind of felt like this kind of curbed my itch of giving back to the school, and hopefully providing something like that. And who would have thought, right? I mean, some bearded, gray-haired guy was going to have something like this pop up, and schools are talking about us and this now. Oh, they got a network. Ooh, la-di-da. But no, that just shows the commitment to you being the captain and all that stuff. So,
well, thanks. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. So, but we will. This isn't our last hoorah talk, of course. But I know you got to get going and get to your next class. But as always, questions, concerns, comments. Random strangers off the street, how do they get a hold of you, my friend?
Email paul.sheffield@emwolves.net. Call, see me on the street. Just don't throw anything at me. I don't move that fast anymore. I never moved fast to begin with. That's why I was a lineman in high school many moons ago. Anytime somebody has a question, my door is always open. Always have had an open door, and just have nothing to hide. So, amen. Except for Easter eggs, we did do that. So,
yeah, good Easter egg.
Our daughter is 26, and she informs us every year that she's still not too old.
Good.
To have an Easter basket.
Good. I got two teenagers. I could say otherwise, but good for you.
No, we still have the Easter basket and Easter egg. So, young and hard, I guess.
Amen. Mr. Sheffield, thank you so much, my friend. And we'll talk here before you skedaddle in the sunset. So
sounds great. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for everything.